Hi everyone, it's Melissa here. Just jumped on today to do a little tutorial on the free digi kit that's now on my blog. It's a little 8-page photo album. Now the only things you'll need to do it is one piece of craft card or a bit of cardstock you have laying around, and the digi kit that is printed out. I just printed in the PDF file to as is. Don't make it to fit the page unless you've got bigger photos. So that's all you really need. So I'll take you through it step by step. The first thing that I'm doing here is just cutting out the back and front covers. So I've done it so that the white bit in the middle indicates that you have to cut these separately. So I'm cutting the two pieces out. I've printed these on a light card, and it's got a nice sort of almost satin feel to it. It's quite lovely. So I'm just getting this cut out. And it's the same with the end sheets, which are the ones that I'm cutting now. So it's got the white line in the middle, so we're going to cut those separate. And voila, there we go. And then we're going to come to, now this is the spine and the hinges, so we'll cut those out. Just trim that bit off the end. And now the pages. So these are one piece, there's no white line in the middle, so this is the front and back of one piece. So I'm cutting these out, and I'm also cutting the windows out for the photos. So when these are folded, we'll slip the photo down the middle in between them. So we're just cutting those out. You can use a paper trimmer if that's what you feel comfortable with. And there we have. Now I'll cut all the pages out. Now I want to show you, if you want a window on both sides to put a photo in both ways, all you simply have to do is just fold it over and give it a good score. You don't want it moving, and then cut the middle out through both sides. So you don't have to, measure the other side or anything like that. Just simply cut through both sides. Speed it up a bit here so you don't have to watch me cutting. I didn't press quite heavy enough, so I just had to go back and with the knife and trim a few little corners out. You can also keep these cutouts too, because they can make good tags or something for another project. So there, that's what you need to do if you want a photo facing both sides. So after they're all cut out, got 8 pages, just fold them all over and give them a good score with a good fold with the bone folder. And here I am just putting them into order. So I'm going to put the double way photo one in the middle, and I've left one side to them for the option that you can write on them if you want to, or put nice sayings or decorate them how you want. So they are the 8 pages ready. So now we're going to get the back and front covers ready. So this is where the cardstock comes in. You might just have, any cardstock will do. I have even made this with chipboard, and it actually turned out really well. So for this one, I'm just using a bit of craft that I just because I've got always craft hanging around. So I've just cut it to the same size. I sort of didn't really measure. I just went with just using it as a template and cutting them. So now I'm just doing the back cover. Okay, so we've got our 2 covers. So now we're going to go ahead and glue them together. So we want to glue the cover pieces onto the craft card. So I just put my gluing mat down so I don't get it everywhere. Not that it really matters. My mat is, as you can see, so dirty. But, you know, it's what you get when you love crafting. A bit of paint and a bit of glue. That's okay. So, okay, we'll stuck that one. Now the front. Excuse the noise of the fan and things going on here. We've got sort of about a 32 degrees Celsius day today. So I've got the fan going. Okay, so there's the front and back covers done. Now we're going to do the spine. The spine is sort of like a concertina fold. I'm sure you would have seen this on the internet before on a tutorial. So I've already marked all the lines for you. So if you line it up with the marks on your scoreboard, and I'm using an inch one, and you can just score down the lines that I've already got for you, save you having to measure it. But basically there's a quarter inch gap and then a 16th inch gap, and we alternate those along with a 1 inch at either end. So I think I've got that right. Might be a ½ inch at either end actually. So I've scored along all those lines, and then we're going to all the dotted lines, we're going to fold the same way. So get your bone folder and give it a good press down. So first I went along and did all of the dotted lines, folding in the same direction. So these will become the bits that our pages will hook onto. So I'll just speed that up and get it going there. Also, just make sure that your edges of your paper are straight so that we know that our pages are going to be bound in there straight. So just 2 more. That's all the dotted lines done. Now we've got to go back on the solid lines and fold them back the other way. So this can be a little bit tricky because there is that very small gap in between them, but I sort of just hold the paper down and fold it towards me, and then just give it a good old crease with the bone folder. So here you can see I'm pulling that one towards me and creasing it, and I'll do this all the way down. It's the easiest method I've come up with, but if you have something easier, then by all means do it your way. It does take a little while, so I'll speed it up a bit. And that's the last one. So now you've got this it's kind of like a concertina fold with an extra little bit in there. So when you fold the dotted line sides up, you get these little ridges that we're going to stick together that hold the pages in place. So now we're going to put our tape on. I found tape the easiest and best way to do this. It holds really well. Now to place the tape, we're going to put the first one on the first, not the first ½ inch gap at the beginning, but the next one. So the first kind of quarter inch gap, and then you're going to put tape on every space that's after your 2 little folds. So here you look for your 2 little folds and go on top of them. Okay, so I've gone next 2 little folds and gone on top of that again, and do this all along. So basically you're running your tape just along just the one row along the top of the 2 small folds. Now, I hope that's kind of clear. It's a little hard to explain, but hopefully you can see what I've done there. And to make the actual binding, what we're going to do is remove one tape at a time. So let's get that tape off and fold those 2 quarter inch sides together, and just keep on going down the spine there. So peel it off and then fold them together, and you can see that The only bit that's left on the back side then is the gap between those two small folds. So you're going to end up with just those little gaps on one side, and the other side's going to be like the hinges, I guess they're called, where you can put your pages onto. So we'll just go on and keep doing all of that. Okay, so almost done there. So that's what we have after we've finished all the folding. We've got our 8 little, I don't know, spikes, hinges sticking up, and that's what we're going to connect our pages to. So to do that, I'll just have a bit of a tidy up. Now we've bring our 8 pages, and I'm going to put them face down on the table, so that, because I want to start from the back page and I want to work forward. So I'm going to use glue for this. You can use any glue that you've got that's got a nice strong hold, and of course we want the top to be open because that's where we're going to slide our photo in and out. So we just want to place glue down. Now the sides are going to be one each side of our little hinge, so we want it on both sides and along the bottom, because we obviously don't want our photo to fall right through the bottom. So we'll put glue on the 2 sides and one half of the bottom, and then on the first hinge we'll put one side either side of that little hinge spiky bit. Now I just use the bone folder to give it a good burnish along there, because you want your glue to hold, and it does take a minute sometimes to start to take a hold. And don't forget to also press your bottom pieces together, because you don't want your photo coming out. So now I use also paper clips to hold the ends, and I'm rummaging around. I've got a big box of them and I've got all sorts of clips in there, and I need to sort it out. But anyway, I found some paper clips, and so I paper clip there, and then I give it another good burnish, because you want your pages to be strong, you don't want them falling out. So give it another good rub. And and you just continue doing this with all the pages. So, and your paper clips can stay on there for a bit of hold. There's no rush to take them off. They don't, take up a lot of room, so you can get your next page in without worrying about it. So next page exactly the same, just down one side, along the one side of the bottom, and then along the other edge. And we'll just put it on the next hinge that's in front of the back one that we've already done. There's no order for the pages, you can do them in whatever order you like. So I'll just press that on. I want to get a good stick. Paper clips to hold it in place. And there's the second page. The second last page actually. We're doing it from the back, working forwards. And then for the other 6 pages we just do exactly the same. So I'll sped it up a little bit here. So You don't have to see me put every page on in real time. Actually, to make one of these little books, from the cutting out to finishing this whole tutorial before it was edited, I think it took me about an hour. So it's not a long project, and it's something that you can get done quite quickly if you want to just, make a quick gift or, something like this. I just made one for my daughter, needed a Secret Santa for school. So, we just whipped one up and there she had a little gift. So, so I've done all the pages now. I'll just fix that paper clip. So all of our pages are in. I'm just giving that one final burnish with the bone folder. And there we go. So I'll leave my paper clips on at this point just to make sure that glue's gonna hold. And now we're going to put it onto the spine. So the spine is cut the same size as the covers, which is just a tiniest bit longer than the actual spine. So you'll have a small gap at top and bottom, and that's just so it doesn't overlap on the outside and it looks much sort of neater. So I've been quite liberal with the glue because we don't want our hinges and our spine to come apart. So I've whacked on a fair bit of glue and just spread it all out, make sure I get good coverage over there. And then when we put this on, we want to try and get it, as central as possible, and that's sideways and top to bottom. So I'm just checking here that my spine is the right way up. Just believe me, I have done that before, put it the wrong way. So I'm just sticking that on well. Giving it a good burnish just to make sure it's all good. Now I'll take out all these paper clips because it's got a pretty good hold on it now. So I'll just fold that up a bit. It's really starting to come together now. And I've also just made sure here that the spine's adhered well and that all of my pages are sitting right in the album. So when you fold them on top of each other, they should be nice and straight along the top and bottom, and I'm just doing this to make sure they fold easily. So I'll do it that way, and then I flip them over and do it the other way, and I'm just making sure that that the bottoms are all stuck together as well. So we're on the home run now. So we're going to get those front covers. And I hadn't decided here, you can do this both ways. You can put the front cover on either the top of the spine piece or with the spine piece on top like this. Now I've decided to do it with the cover on top because this particular design, I think it looks a little bit better because you can see the whole of the front cover. So just to make the spine bend a bit easier, I'm just going to, just on my pad, you don't have to worry about a scoreboard or anything, but just give it a couple of run along with the bone folder at about, just a small space out from the pages. Just a small space, so that just make the spine bend that little bit easier around the pages once we get the cover on. So as you can see, it's just a small gap, just not right up against the pages, just leave that little bit. So now I'm not going to fold that too tightly, I'm just giving it a bit of a bend over just to give it that bit of flexibility to go around onto the cover. Yeah, I think that does look better on top because otherwise that way it sort of cuts off half the border. So, but you can do it that way if you are using other paper, then by all means, yeah, you can do it either way. Both ways stick just as good. So I'm going to run some tape because I do like to use tape. It has got a strong hold. I'm going to run it along the edge of this spine cover. And then I'm going to run it along the edge of the actual cover that's got to go onto that piece as well. So we've got that really good stick on both sides then. And just in the middle of that, we're going to just put some glue because, you know, you can't have too much stick. You don't want your cover coming off. So just take that tape cover off, put some glue, okay, just be careful positioning this because usually once the tape's down, it's pretty much down, so just line it up onto the front. Oops, got a bit of glue coming out there. Once you've got it in place, give it a really good burnish to get that stuck down really well and get all that glue from seeping out. And you can see this is why we've put the score lines and folded the spine, because it just gives it that bit more flexibility. So I'm just clamping there, put some clips on to keep that cover in place while I do the back one, and the back one is done exactly the same. And just check again. I always check a few times of that it's the right way up because, oh, you know, it's been done. You'll do it. So I'm just making sure that I've got it all the right way. And same thing, run the tape along the edge of the spine paper and the edge of the back cover. Take off the backing. And add that bit of glue. And then just position and burnish the same way that we did the front cover. And just kind of line it up at the back that it's going to line up nicely with the front cover. The covers, like I said, are just a little bit bigger than the pages so that everything fits in and looks really nice together. So when you've got your covers on, you really shouldn't see your pages from the front or back. So just keeping that in mind when you're lining everything up. So I've given that a good burnish, and I'll add some more clips on there just to keep it all together. And you know, this is just how to put it together, but there's so much more you can do with this. If you want to ink around the edges before you put it together, it looks really nice too. You know, add some ribbon or closure, add some ribbon in between your craft card and front cover to make a closure. That looks good also. So there's our little book coming together quite well. And we're going to do the end pages now. So they are the same size as the covers, so they should just glue straight on, although I've left a little tiny white ends that of course I'm not happy with. So I'll just trim those off because I don't like them, you know, I like them to be the same size, not sticking out. So that's done. So I'm just going to use glue to stick these in place. You can use tape though. My glue was just there. And I do find it a little bit quicker sometimes to use the glue, but not that that really matters, you know, in this case. But so I don't overdo it because I don't want my paper to warp or anything like that. So I just make sure all the edges are really well glued, because you don't want them coming apart, the edges. And just line it up with the corners and edges, and that then covers that spine paper that you can see. Now if you had to put your spine paper over the other way, you would still put this on, but you wouldn't need to cover as much, so it would just basically be covering the craft card, and it still looks really nice to do. And it does cover that little bit extra flap that we had on for the spine hinge page as well. So we'll do that with the front and back. A bit more glue. And just once again, make sure it's the right way up. I'm kind of obsessed with doing that because I just want to make sure it's all right. Because on these end pages on this kit, it's like a really faded old writing. So there is a right and a wrong way to it. So keep that in mind. Give that a good burnish and clip it in place just to give it a bit of hold there. And pretty much our little album is done. So I have just having a flip through, make sure all the pages are held together really well. So you can see that on the one side you can write or whatever. So I've just got a photo, just a random photo of one of my daughter and her birds here. So you can see that a normal 6x4 photo just slides in really well. So there you go, and like that middle page that we cut both sides on, just put a photo back to back and slide them in. And there we have our little mini album. I really hope you like this kit, and keep an eye out for more because I will be doing more. I do love the digital designing just as much as the making. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.